Hello everyone, welcome back to Gelvin Valley, created by Wild Wes. We are mowing, oh yeah, and this is for Farm Sim 15, in case that wasn't readily apparent. Stay straight, tractor. We are in the middle of, oh my goodness, I am just weaving all over the place like a drunken sailor, trying to mow a little bit of grass for our sheep that are busily eating us out of house and home. Well, not quite. But preparing it for them, just cutting a little grass up here. You can kind of see across the way. Last time we cut a couple of them. And I probably should go get the windrower, but I may just try to pick all this up with the forage wagon, whatever you call that thing, versus windrowing it, and see if I can just handle it that way. Even though it's maybe a little more efficient for pickup, there isn't that many windrows here to necessitate that, so I think I'll cut out a trip for that. The only thing I really did, and I know I mentioned this issue in a previous episode that I've had, was kind of my befuddlement after cutting all those trees down and having a whole bunch of stumps, was to see them all mysteriously regrow and, fully grown trees. And so well, matter of fact, you know what, let me park this baby. Let me just hop it out and head over there so you can see. Alright, here's the area. Notice new trees. So I don't want to do this right. I was looking for a way to see if I could somehow diminish the trees and return them to stump status. And in short, I couldn't figure out how to do it. I could change the age on the trees, so I know one iteration I had in here, all around here the trees were replanted. So they were just in their sapling state, if you will. But I didn't really want to do that. I mean, I kind of want to go through the effort and work of replanting them. And I also wanted to go through the effort and work of tearing out all the stumps, and it appears I'm not going to be afforded that opportunity. Anyway, the only way I could get rid of them, well, I suppose not the only way. I could have harvested them again, but I really, like I say, I would have felt guilty doing that because I didn't plant them. So I found the file in the save game file. It was an XML file for planted trees, and it was called Split Shapes something or other. And so I just deleted it. And again, this was the XML file, not the giant Split Shapes file, which it's in some unrecognizable format, GMSS or something like that. And to my knowledge, I don't think anybody anywhere in the modding world has ever had specific tools to open or modify the Split Shapes files. The only way we can get at them is by writing some Lua code. The game, I think, when it starts, it puts them in a table, so you can access them from the underlying game tables once it's loaded. But boy, sometimes I would just like to open the save game file, and kind of deal with them in there, which it's pretty easy to work with these XML files. But yeah, so far as I'm aware, I don't know that anybody has ever edited it in the save game file. So anyway, much as I wish I could have all those stumps in there to deal with, it seemed the only clean way was to delete the file, make them go away. So I did, and that's probably the fairest thing to do, because otherwise, I just Hey, I'm all of a sudden picking up on something. Folks, it is hailing. At first, I was saying goodbye. There's a lot of uh, particles floating around here. I'm in the middle of a hailstorm, which is really, really good because I've been wanting to plant the fields, and I know for a couple episodes in game, I've indicated my reluctance to do the ad until we have the hailstorm because the hail is going to do damage, and I didn't want it to damage my crops. But it does raise another question as I sit here doing this. And this maybe I haven't installed the particular script on here. I know I did on another map. I also wrote a script kind of similar to what we had in Farm Sim 17 with the Seasons mod. If you remember that, they had a script in there that when rainfall happened, it would rot or diminish the windrows that you had that were exposed. Just like what happened in real life, given enough time and rain and all that, these would eventually disappear from the field, although probably not before killing some grass underneath and who knows what all. So what I wanted to do was mimic that in Farm Sim 15, so I wrote a script to do it for 15, but I don't believe I installed it on this map. Oh, get through the gate. You know what? I probably... Let me see here. Meanwhile, I am damaging... Oh, come on. I am in four-wheel drive. Well, shoot. Let me drop it here and come at it a different angle. It's a little bit early, so it's kind of hard to see. Oh, come on, pick it up. I probably shouldn't have hooked it up, because you know what? I probably left the tongue up in the air. And yeah, it's... Now, can I push on this? Come on, I've got it in four-wheel drive. Do I have to bump it? Yeah, what I'm seeing I need to do is go into the editor and widen this just a fuzz whisker so I can actually... There's other times I come through here, but must have... I gotta get it out of the way here. You know what I need to do? Okay, I wonder if I can... Am I damaging this? That's a 1% damage. I don't know if I damage it coming at it here in reverse. Maybe let me try it over here. Yeah, somehow I got this... Oops. Didn't want to hit the tongue there. Got it jammed in the doorway, or the gate. Okay, I am doing damage. I see the 2% there, but maybe it's the angle. Is that what it is? Do I got an angle? Get the angle. There we go. Okay. It was that easy. I guess I just had to talk to it sweetly somehow. Yeah, I'm gonna try to make a mental note here to fix the ad in the editor to make it just a little wider, so we don't have this trouble. Alright, we'll drop her there, and let's go get our trailer to put it in. So, as I record this, it's right after work on a Monday. Not that anybody particularly cares, but this week here, it's going to be unique for our family because, I think I've mentioned before, I have 4 children that God has given our family, and okay, I hopefully I got enough room to put everything in there. and two are girls, two boys, and the two girls are oldest. They came along first, and then the two boys, and both of our girls have married and are out of the house. One of them even has a child, so that makes me a grandpa, if you can imagine that. And I'm excited because I get to see her pretty soon. And some of the reason I get to see her is because my oldest son, one of the two remaining, is soon to be married himself, and it's going to take place here at the end of the week on a Saturday, and so we've they're just in, those of us that are married, we know what kind of activity takes place. As you're planning for a wedding, there's all sorts of details to take care of. Unfortunately, this is why you have family and friends in life. Well, not the only reason, but they help you with a lot of those things. But one of the things that no amount of, well, I guess I shouldn't be that definitive, no amount of preparation can help you with is the feeling to a dad, to a parent, when you basically gotta give up your child, or what we traditionally think of as our child. I since have learned over my life, we think we have children, and we think they belong to us, maybe at a certain level, and it's true for a while. They are in our care, in our home. But I've come to understand we really don't. They don't belong to us, and they're just gifts for, I believe, given by God for a certain period of time, and it's our responsibility as parents to raise them, to teach them right from wrong, teach them to be productive members of society, all those good things, those good ideals, that we all aspire to, and promptly screw up, because none of us are perfect. But I guess, kind of what I'm thinking of is, even as I do this and play this silly game, is just what's going through my mind is, coming to terms as a dad with another one of our little chickies flying from the nest. And even though we've been here before, even though it's, as we say, it's like, well, this is what you hope for, this is what you plan for, this is normal, this is what you want to do. I can't really explain just the hollow feeling, I guess you can feel inside, where, because it's going to involve change, and it'll be okay. I mean, I'm not trying to say I'm just totally melancholy, falling apart here, but as a dad, you get used to, at least in our house, going to work, coming home, having supper together as a family, and you get used to seeing certain faces around the table, and now one of them isn't going to be there, or not as often as he has been, heretofore. And it's, I suppose anybody listening to this who's a parent or who's gone through that can readily understand, what I'm talking about. And like I say, we know this. We know we raise children so they can grow up, and nobody, fortunately, remains a child forever. Or if someone does, it's a problem. But anyway, it's just something that's on my mind here, as I play this here now, just thinking of my son, what he means to me. I know there's different dynamics too for a family between dads and their daughters, dads and their sons, and so there's male-female differences too, to where maybe you relate to them a little bit differently depending on what sex they are. I don't know, and how all that is, or the whys and wherefores. And even if it wasn't that, what you do know is every person on the planet is unique. And so every experience is unique. And, you know, like it or not, I've said many times they don't come with instructions tattooed on their behinds. So that's part of the challenge and joy of being a parent, that you figure out, or try to anyhow, this particular, whoops, I hit the fence post. This particular child, you've been given to care for. And so, I don't know, I'm just kind of babbling these things. Like I say, anybody listening to this who's gone through it, I'm sure knows exactly what I mean. I know back when I got married when I was 21, and I didn't appreciate or think at the time just what, and I was the oldest in my family, oldest of 7 children, um, and I didn't appreciate or understand at the time what my leaving may have done to my mom and dad. And it's not on purpose, of course, these are all good things. And, I did ask my dad here the other day, when I saw him, I just asked, I said, I'm very happy, for what's to come. And, my son has a wonderful woman that's agreed to marry him. He's fortunate, because it's hard to find really good men or women, in the world, such as it is. And so I'm really happy for him. I'm looking forward to the life, that he's going to have. And, but I said, I can't explain kind of the hollow feeling I feel inside, a little bit of sadness for the change that I know is to come. And what he told me is he always tried to focus on the joy or the happiness that his children had, and to experience it through them, through their eyes. And, I guess I see the point in that. This ain't about me. So really, I mean, if I can focus on being happy for the two of them and let my energy be attuned to that, then then I won't have time to feel a little bit down in the dumps. I'm making it sound like I have a total complex. I mean, shoot, we've been here before, and I survived. So I know I'll survive this one just fine. But I'm definitely gonna miss him. And so I don't know. I don't know that I have spent. Well, there's been so many episodes. I don't know how much time I've spent in here talking about my kids. Anytime you talk to a parent, in the old days, you would see them with a wallet, and they had all these pictures in there, and you talk to them, and especially if they just had a baby, well, boom, out came the wallet, all the pictures fell out, flopping all over. They were just so excited to tell you about their kid, and maybe that's that's probably just the way we are. So I don't mean to brag necessarily on my kids more so than anybody else, but hopefully anybody listening to this would understand. Hey, I'm just a dad. I'm human like everybody else, and I'm thankful for my children. And each one of them is different. I've never tried to compare them. Well, that isn't totally true. I guess we notice differences, right? So, but what I mean by I compare, I tried to treat them as individuals and not throw the at, well, you're not like your brother, or the at kind of thing. That's what I mean by not comparing them. So they're definitely 4 unique individuals. And it's, being a dad, 2 girls first, and then having the boys come along, and each one of our children, by the way, my wife and I chose, just the 2 of us as a couple. That I know there's a lot of people, when they have a little one on the way, they want to know what sex it is, and I get it. You're excited, you maybe want to figure out what name to give the child. Maybe you want to plan for decorating as to how the room looks, and it's different if it's a girl or a boy. I totally get that. But we chose just to have it be a surprise. I guess to me there's all sorts of negative surprises in life, and so we just decided to have a positive surprise if we wanted to not know, what we were having until the little tyke showed up. So that's kind of what we chose to do. So we had the two girls first, and then the boys came. So I was just a dad of girls until this one showed up, and and they were just little girls at that. But I remember having a funny feeling inside, when we had a boy. It's like, oh boy, does my approach as a dad need to change now that we got a boy? And yes, of course it does, but you never know in what ways, that's gonna manifest itself or whatever. Oh, you know something? I'm just looking at this here, and we are getting full. So I might have to pick up the rest of this later. But our first son, he was born in, well, let's see here, 2003-ish. I think that's right. As a dad, I should know. Yeah, well, the mom is usually better memorizing birthdays and all that. I know I know his birthday. But it was in, okay, there we go. Full up. He was born in November of the year 2003, so kind of after Y2K, and now we had a little boy in our family, and he kind of started a little bit rough. When he came out, and I've been teased about this ever since. I thought he was making these cute little noises. He sounded like he was grunting. Anybody that's ever held a little piglet, you kind of know the little grunting sound that they made. And he was doing this, and I didn't know why. I'm not a medical person or what have you, so I thought it was just a cute little sound he was making. Well, turns out that wasn't a cute little sound at all. He was having trouble breathing, and even to this day, he has some respiratory issues, but I won't go into all that. But basically, and I don't think my wife even got to hold him kind of initially. Oh, here we took some of that out. But basically, we couldn't take him home from the hospital. We had to, actually, let me leave the trailer here. I'll take my tractor. Yes, I know, can't. Oh, I gotta get past this, I wish. There we go, now pass the trigger. No. Drop it, there we go. I think I'm gonna go down and get the front loader, unless I put the front loader over here in the sheet. I'll check the sheet, then I'm gonna go get it. But he wasn't able to breathe properly, and I didn't realize how serious it was. So he was born here locally, and well, the first thing we had to do was the hospital called basically the equivalent of, what am I coming in here for? I'm getting wrapped up in my story. Called for the equivalent of a medical transport. I was going to say ambulance. They had to take him to a larger hospital in the Portland area, which is the largest city in the state where I live, and it's up north. And he went into, I guess they would call it a shorthanded NICU. I think that's what they would call it. I'm not sure exactly what that stands for. Not prenatal. But it's for babies that are having issues. And my son, of course, had some breathing issues. Aha, I do have it here. So, I might have enough maybe while I'm waiting through this hailstorm, let me grab a trailer and I will just haul some wool to market. Is it in? Oh, maybe it's the hay trailers. Is it hay handling? Loading, wagons, forestry, baling. Ah, there we go. Let me get the green. We will rent for an hour. All right, let's go get our Marshall trailer. But so they hauled him up there, and my wife and I then, so our little baby, almost immediately after being born, you're so happy he's finally here, and then he has trouble. So it's an immediate, sock in the guts, to a parent to have something like that happen. And these other people, these strangers, for any lack of a better term, haul him away. And if you want to see your baby again, well, now you need to drive an hour to the north to this hospital up here where we have your baby and are taking care of him. And so, and oh, by the way, when you come up there, prepare to be there for a while, because we didn't know. Frankly, there was a part of me that didn't even know if we'd be able to bring him home. I wasn't the first child we ever had in a hospital for some purpose, and I didn't know what all that meant or how hard it was for him to breathe or any of that. So kind of had a heavy heart, going home, packing. And of course, my wife, this is her brand new baby. You go through all of the pains of labor, and she didn't even get to hold him. They had him over in a special room. They hooked him up with this, that, and the other to monitor him. They had a special, I don't know what they called it. It looked kind of like a clear plastic tent or shroud that they put over him to somehow get him more air, oxygen, or whatever. Anyway, let's just say she, with all the hormones and everything involved in pregnancy, that wasn't something that she was expecting or really appreciated either. Nor did I. So anyway, we headed up to Portland and he was up there, and I'll just say this, the people who specialize in that, they were very professional, they were kind, they were good people. I appreciate what they did, and I also appreciated just how easy or less problematic my son's issues were compared to everyone else that was up there. And I don't know that I can even articulate some of the problems these babies had, but I came to find out that many, I won't say most because I really don't know the stats, many of those poor little babies never left the hospital alive. And, when I think of the reason my son was there, his problem compared to theirs, many of the others, was very solvable. And so it didn't help to go in there and see him, put up on this, hooked up, with all these things so they could help him or whatever. And it was literally several days, as I recall, before my wife, could go in there and they unhooked enough stuff so she could hold him for the first time. And yeah, so just kind of starting off rough, and it was kind of all these NICUs, in order to go in, it kind of was on the order of a lockdown. Number one, if you didn't have a wristband or proof, that your child was in there, you never got in the door. And because there was a locked door, I think you had to go through, they buzzed you through. And the other thing is you had to, it was really curious, the things that they had us do. You had to wash your hands thoroughly, and What was the other thing? Oh yeah, they gave you these little pick things that you had to clean under your fingernails. And there's I keep trying to remember if there was a gown or something they had us put on. There might have been that too. So you put on a gown, you thoroughly wash your hands, your arms, because they just wanted to reduce the possibility of any disease or that kind of thing. And I think at the time they said there was the whooping cough was going around. So I don't know if this was their normal policy or just what the deal was, but suffice it to say, it was an ordeal every time you wanted to go in and see him. You had to take certain steps. Okay, you know what? I'm sitting on a hump here. I remember last time this was kind of an issue, so I don't know if there's a way to... Yeah, I'll just stop it here. Let me get out, and we're gonna go... Oh, fiddle. I forgot. Dummy, you need the tractor in order to... Let me drop this in order to load. Okay, can I get in over here? Open sesame. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, let me come over here. We'll zoom in. Oh my word. Am I already out of time? Oh, I had a whole page of notes here talking about my son. Well, maybe I'm just going to have to turn it into some other episodes here. Alright. Well, I think I have... Yeah, do I have the... Yep, it's forks. So, I guess long and the short of it is, we eventually got him out of the hospital. I guess I can at least finish that little bit of the story. But like I say, it was kind of a rocky start bringing him home, and you're always worried, when something goes wrong and you bring your child home from the hospital. It's like, oh, we're going to be able to take care of him or her properly when they're here. But he's, of course, since grown up to be a strapping, strong young man, even if he does still have a few respiratory issues. So I've been grateful in the ensuing years, and never again did we have to take him back to the hospital. Well, I don't think. There might have been once. Anyways, I'll maybe try to continue on in the next ones. What do I know? I'm just a dad reminiscing here. And thank you all for coming along and listening to me ramble on as we work our animals here and take care of a few things. We are in the middle of a hailstorm. Wish I knew how long it was going to last, but I don't. So we'll just take what we get, and then on the heels of this, we'll start planting the fields now that we're past the danger zone. Anywho, thanks again. I will see you on the next one. Goodbye.